Daly, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, great. This is the Wednesday, February 19th, 2020 morning session of the Portland City Council. We're now in session. Carla, if you could call the roll, and then I'll do the script here.
Fritz, Hardesty,
Here.
Udaly,
Here.
Wheeler.
Here. Pursuant to PCC 3.02.025, Commissioner Udaly is participating by telephone because failure to allow participation of the city council member by electronic communication would jeopardize the public interest, health, safety, or welfare. Let's see. Commissioner Fritz is not present. She's also not physically present. She was contacted and given an opportunity to participate by telephone today. Do any council members who are physically present, that would be me and you, object to having Commissioner Udaly participate by phone?
No, I don't.
Nor do I. So we have successfully made it through the script. We'll now hear from legal counsel on the rules of order and decorum. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, Mayor. Welcome to the Portland City Council. The City Council represents all Portlanders and meets to do the city's business. The presiding officer preserves order and decorum during City Council meetings so everyone can feel welcome, comfortable, respected, and safe. To participate in council meetings, you may sign up in advance with the council clerk's office for communications to briefly speak about any subject. You may also sign up for public testimony on resolutions or the first readings of ordinances. Your testimony should address the matter being considered at the time. If it does not, you may be ruled out of order. When testifying, please state your name for the record. Your address is not necessary. Please disclose if you are a lobbyist. If you are representing an organization, please identify it. The presiding officer determines the length of testimony. Individuals generally have 3 minutes to testify unless otherwise stated. When you have 30 seconds left, a yellow light goes on. When your time is done, a red light goes on.
Oh, thank you.
If you are in the audience and would like to show your support for something that is said, please feel free to do a thumbs up. If you want to express that you do not support something, please feel free to do a thumbs down. Please remain seated in council chambers unless entering or exiting. If you are filming the proceedings, please do not use bright lights or disrupt the meeting. Disruptive conduct such as shouting or interrupting testimony or council deliberations will not be allowed. If there are disruptions, a warning will be given that further disruption may result in the person being ejected for the remainder of the meeting. After being ejected, a person who fails to leave the meeting is subject to arrest for trespass. Thank you for helping your fellow Portlanders feel welcome, comfortable, respected, and safe.
Thank you very much, Robert. Carla, if you could read the first individual's name, please, for communications.
Item 146, request of Maria Garcia to address council regarding community participation and civic responsibilities. She is not able to make it.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. All right, the next three individuals, I believe, would like to come up together, 147, 48, and 49, please.
Okay. 147, request of Ryan White to address council regarding National Court Reporting and Captioning Week. 148, request of Carol Studeman to address council regarding National Court Reporting and Captioning Week. And 149, request of Robin Nodland to address council regarding National Court Reporting and Captioning Week.
Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Ryan White. I'm a federal official court reporter here in Portland, and I'm also president of the Oregon Court Reporters Association. I'm especially proud to be here today in recognition of the National Court Reporting and Captioning Week, which concluded last Friday. For more than 70 years, OCRA has provided professional development, training, and support to hundreds of court reporters, stenographers, and captioners across the state. Court reporters are the guardian of the official record in trials and legal proceedings. That means an impartial, objective, highly trained professional is capturing every word during legal proceedings. It's critical to have the official record captured, transcribed, and held by an impartial third party during trials and depositions. We use the latest technology, continuously update our skills, and as members of OCRA, we provide each other with support expertise, and camaraderie. It's a profession that can take you around the world, into the halls of power, and can give you front row seat to historic events. When courts use stenographic court reporters, the record is accurate and secure. The steno outlines that we create to produce transcripts cannot be manipulated. We also adhere to the highest ethical standards that require confidentiality. Your medical records will not end up on the web, and your trade secrets will remain secret. We're grateful to be here today to talk about an underappreciated, highly important career that pays well, yet requires only 2 years of training. No college degree is necessary. Becoming a qualified stenographer allows you to create your own schedule. It gives you the opportunity to travel, the ability to work in the broadcast industry, provide captions for your Portland City Council meeting, work with professional sports teams as a captioner, create the official record for our legal system. It helps the hearing impaired receive vital information from newscasts, attend school, and more. Oregon Court Reporters Association is proud to be here today. It's a noble profession that sets the gold standard for legal records.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Carol Studenman, and I'm one of the owners of LNS Court Reporting and Captioning, and this is my business partner, Robin. And I'm also a past president of OCRA. I want to thank you, the City Council, for tremendous support in making Portland accessible to people with hearing disabilities. Our company began captioning for Portland City Council meetings 20 years ago last month. The city started slowly and over the years began to add captions when the council held budget meetings out in the community, briefings started to expand. We now caption for 5 other entities within the city. And thanks to Portland's leadership, Multnomah County, Metro Council, the cities of Beaverton, Eugene, Tacoma, and Seattle also provide captions for their public meetings. Many other cities around the country provide captions, but Portland's leadership influenced this list of cities in our region. And I also want to interject that we've been captioning for the Portland Trailblazers for 21 years.
That's great.
Go Blazers. In December 2015, a Portland ordinance went into effect that requires all TVs in public places in the city to have the captions turned on all the time. A big thanks to Commissioner Fritz for leading this successful effort. She really made that happen. Businesses such as McMenamins have the captions on all the time, as do most other businesses in town. We still have some work to do with enforcement, but we'll get there. Word of this ordinance has spread around the country. The following cities have enacted similar ordinances since Portland: Seattle, Salem, Tacoma, Albuquerque, Rochester, New York, San Francisco, Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and Ann Arbor, Michigan. And right now, the Washington legislature is considering a statewide law that would require the captions be turned on all the time in all public places in the entire state. At the end of the day, we all hope that our work has some kind of an impact on our communities. With regard to access for people with disabilities, the City of Portland has made an impact that is felt beyond our city limits and across the country. And I'm one of many people who are grateful for your leadership.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Robin Nolan. I'm co-owner of LNS Court Reporting and Captioning with Carol here. We opened our doors in 1987, and we've been a proud member of the Portland business community since that time. I'm here to talk about jobs. We are an eager employer. We need more court reporters and captioners, and these are well-paying jobs. These are the coolest jobs you've never heard of. Stenographic court reporting and captioning are technology careers using Bluetooth connection from computerized steno writer to a laptop and software, creating the gold standard of instantaneous speech to text, known in our industry as real-time, as well as being the most accurate method of making a legal record. We are known for our precision. Currently, there is a shortage of available talent, and it is made even more difficult because the one court reporting school in Oregon closed a few years ago. The closest program is Green River Community College in Auburn, Washington. That's a great program, but we need one here locally. Leaders from the Oregon Court Reporters Association, OCRA, have been doing outreach to students, such as with the Classroom Law Project and career fairs around Oregon. and we are now in contact with educators at Portland Community College to discuss starting a training program. There is great interest, and there has been a small wave of programs opening at community colleges across the country to address this shortage of court reporters and captioners. Until that PCC program comes to fruition, representatives of OCRA have taken the lead in finding court reporting and captioning candidates by partnering with the National Court Reporters Association and launching their A to Z program here locally, which is a 6 to 8 week introduction to the steno machine shorthand. These leaders work with small groups of participants as they learn how to write the alphabet and numbers in steno. Participants use loaner steno machines donated by our members during these training sessions and for at-home practice. The idea is to expose these candidates to steno and get them interested in and excited about a career in court reporting or captioning. In addition to offering schools direct assistance, NCRA is pursuing passage of the Training for Real-Time Writers Act. The legislation, which was introduced to the Senate and passed by the Senate Commerce, Science, and Transportation Committee earlier this year, authorizes $80 million in federal spending over 4 years. The bill, S-268, has 27 co-sponsors and is expected to be approved by the full Senate shortly. A House version of the bill is pending. If the act passes, the federal funding for real-time writer student training would benefit not only current students and programs looking to enhance their real-time training capacity, but also to veteran reporters, as some schools use the funds for real-time retraining. My ask of you is that you support a court reporter and captioner education program at PCC. Thank you.
Thank you. Could I ask you a couple of questions? First of all, I'm always incredibly impressed with the closed captioning that happens here at City Council. And I've never really understood how they can write so quickly. So is part of what you're learning the shorthand that is used? And how is that actually done? How do you learn that?
So it's phonetic. Different combinations of different keys make different sounds. And it's kind of like a piano when you play chords. The left hand is the first part of the word, right hand is the ending part of the word. And each reporter learns a basic theory, and then they kind of evolve it over time, and you train your computer system to understand your writing. So I'm going to say, this is this word today, and it will come up in English on my screen.
So when you are reporting in court, you have to get it right.
Yes,
How
you do.
stressful is that?
It just becomes automatic. I kind of check out sometimes because it just becomes so automatic. It can be stressful, but it's so important. And having a live person there, we're able to control the record too. So if people are talking on top of each other or talking too fast, we can say, hey, slow it down. We want to make sure everyone's understanding. We're creating a proper record, so we help, in that sense as well.
And you're here obviously trying to recruit potentially some young people who might be
Yes.
interested in pursuing a career. Where could they get plugged in? If they're listening to this or they hear about it or we run into somebody and we tell them about it, where should we get them to plug in?
They can contact anybody through the Oregon Court Reporters Association website, orcra.com.
orcra.org?
.org.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. And then there's also NCRA's website. They host an A to Z program, and there's also a Project Steno website. Those are both programs that help people, they're introductory programs to get people to sit down on a machine and go, hey, do I really like this? Can I get into it? And then, as Robin said, unfortunately, our one local school closed down here, which is really unfortunate, and we really hope that PCC can pull one together. But our closest school right now is in Auburn at Green River College. And they offer not only a training like a certificate program, they offer an associate's, and they also now offer a bachelor's. So
Right?
And many of the schools do offer online training
yes.
around the
Oh, that's
country.
very good.
Yeah, right, but it's good to be here.
All right, good.
And one of the differences between what I do as a captioner for you and the Blazers, compared to what Robin and Ryan do, is they can control the record, and I can't yell at you over the phone to say, slow down, or one at a time. So that's where my skills are just slightly off. in the sense that I have to control what's going up on the screen so it's readable to people. And, you know, if somebody says, you know what I mean, at the end of every sentence, I'll start kind of cutting that out.
We don't always have the opportunity to connect the face with the work. And so I'm really glad you're here today, and I appreciate you giving us a little more information on your industry, because it's a really important one.
Yeah, we are typically the flies on the wall that nobody knows about. And, but now in our industry with the technology advancing and all the advancements we make, it's really important that we get young people out there and into this career. And it is a great career. You can make a great living at it, and you don't have to be riddled with 4 or 8 years of school debt either. And it's just, it's so important. It's so important for the hard of hearing. I read a report that 25% of our state's population experiences some sort of hearing impairment. That's a huge percentage. For someone to be able to read captions on a screen on news events or even just entertainment, it seems like a basic American right that everyone should be afforded.
It certainly opens a lot of opportunities for a lot of people.
Right.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you.
Thank you very
We
much.
appreciate your coming in and sharing with
Thank you.
us. Thank you very much. Item 150, please, Lightning.
Request of Lightning Super Karma to address council regarding Lightning Super City Connectome.
Good morning, Lightning.
Yes, my name is Lightning. I represent Lightning Super Karma. As you know, the coronavirus is something we need to be concerned about. I'd like all the health facilities to give out free masks at this time to prevent the coronavirus. Have them optional if you can pick them up or not. Let's not get behind this. We know what's going on in China. Let's be at the forefront, provide free masks to anybody that wants to wear them, pick them up at the mental health facilities. Thank you. Issue number 2, on the local election, I think we're going to see new faces up here besides Commissioner Hardesty all the way across the board. And what I'm proposing also to really kick this game up is I'm proposing that we pay every commissioner and the mayor $250,000 a year. I think they deserve it. I think they're worth it. I think it's the best investment anyone can make in this city. Again, I will be pushing to have $250,000 per year for the commissioners and the mayor across the board. We will have a level of participation. They will show up and they will be here. They will not be a voice on the phone that we don't even know it's them, the way that computer automation has advanced so much. To me, it's illegal. But moving on to the next issue, we're not about billionaires who are going to decide who the next president's going to be. It's about someone who has $1 trillion company. He will decide who the next president will be. And President Trump is nervous at this time, and this person will be viewed on this video who will determine who the next president of the United States will be. Video, please.
You got it. I got it. I guessed right. Thank you very much. Carl, have any items been pulled off the consent agenda?
We do not have a consent today.
Oh, you're right, we do not. Good point, nor could we. We don't have enough people. First item, time certain, 9:45, 151, please.
Do you also want to read 152?
Yes, I do, please. Thank you for noting.
Sure. 151, consider removal of a condition of approval imposed by prior comprehensive plan map and zoning map amendment ordinance at the request of Allison Reynolds of Stoll Reeves LLP and the recommendation from the hearings officer for property at 1710 Northeast Multnomah Street, LU 19-223221 CPZC, and 152, remove a condition of approval imposed by a prior comprehensive plan map and zoning map amendment ordinance for property at 1710 Northeast Multnomah Street at the request of Allison Reynolds, Stoll Reeves LLP, LU 19-223221 CPZC.
Colleagues, this is a zone map change which must be done by ordinance. Staff have amended the findings and ordinance to reflect council's direction to require at least 100 dwelling units when the site is redeveloped. Today, we will vote on the amended findings and ordinance and then roll the item into one final reading. Is there any further discussion? Then I would make a motion to amend the ordinance and the findings
Second.
with the substitute ordinance and findings to reflect the council's condition of approval requiring at least 100 dwelling units. I have a motion. We have a second from Commissioner Hardesty. Please, Carla, call the roll to adopt the amended findings and ordinance.
Hardesty?
It really made it possible for me to support this because of the commitment to 100 housing units. I was very concerned, being in a very condensed urban area, that something else could have gone into this area. I'm very appreciative of the parties making that commitment on the record, and because of that, I'm very happy to vote aye.
Udaly?
Well, colleagues, I want to assure you that it is in fact me. I am not a robot. Anyone who saw me at last night's forum would know that I'm quite ill, and that is why I'm calling in today. I'm happy to support this. I vote aye.
Wheeler?
I'm pleased to see the council be able to add this condition of approval, and I want to thank Allison Reynolds and her client, BDS staff, and my colleagues, particularly Commissioner Fritz, for quickly working on a final condition that we can all agree on. This was a good consensus-based opportunity, and I appreciate it, and I'm happy to vote aye. Thank you. Carla, can you roll over the council's decision for a final vote at a later date?
Yes, we have set on February 26 at 10:50 a.m. time certain.
February 26, time certain, 10:50, 10:50.
Yes.
Here, City Council, be here. Very good. And then the next item is a time certain at 10:30. Let me see if there's anything we can do on a second reading. Why don't we take up 154, please?
154, authorize a competitive invitation to bid for digester cleaning services to be performed at the Columbia Boulevard wastewater treatment plant.
Colleagues, this is a second reading. We've already heard a presentation and taken testimony. Is there any further discussion on this item? Carla, please call the roll.
Hardesty?
Aye.
Udaly?
Aye.
Wheeler?
Aye, the ordinance is adopted. We also have item number 157 as a second reading. Carla, can you read that item, please?
Authorize a contract with the lowest responsible bidder and provide payment for the construction of the Road 10E MP 6.2 to 8.2 project at an estimated cost of $2,220,000.
Colleagues, this is also a second reading. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Carla, please call the roll on this item.
Hardesty?
Aye.
Udaly?
Aye.
Wheeler?
Aye. The ordinance is adopted. And before we take a recess for the 10:30 item, do we have anybody here for 155 or 156 for the presentations? I would doubt it. Can you do 156? Why don't we go ahead and do 156, please? Carla, can you read 156?
156, accept bid of Emery and Sons Construction Group LLC for the Southeast Claiborne Street at Southeast 135th Avenue Sanitary Sewer Extension Project for $2,419,997.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mayor and Commissioners. I am Kathleen Brennis, Marua Procurement Manager for Design and Construction Services. I'm here to recommend the authorization to enter into a contract with Emery and Sons Construction Group for the Southeast Claiborne Street at Southeast 135th Avenue Sanitary Sewer Extension Project. The authorizing ordinance was passed by council on September 4th, 2019, and the engineer's estimate at that time was $3,148,000. We issued an invitation to bid on November 8th, 2019, and a mandatory pre-bid conference was held. 8 prime contractors attended. Bids were due on December 17th, 2019, and 5 responsive bids were received. The responsive low bid is from Emery and Sons Construction Group in the amount of $2,419,997, and it's approximately 23% under the engineer's estimate. The city's aspirational 20% subcontractor and supplier utilization goal applied. Emery and Sons Construction has committed to subcontract 16.62% to minority firms certified by the state's Certification Office for Business Inclusion and Diversity, as identified in the report before you. They are self-performing 77.84% of the work. Emery and Sons Construction is in full compliance with all city contracting requirements, and I here recommend you authorize this contract.
Very good. Commissioner Hardesty.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a question. So this contract is at 16.62.
Correct.
Of the aspirational goal of 20%. What would have taken to get the other 4%?
So from the information that Emery and Sons provided, they did intend to meet the 20% goal. They did outreach to over 42 certified firms. They only received 6 responses, 6 quotes back. We are working with them to try to get them up to the 20%. They are so close. We feel that there are other opportunities where we can reach that. But at this time for the contract award, they were only able to achieve the 16%.
As do I. I figure if you get to 16.6, it shouldn't be that hard to get the other
No, and
3
we-
point.
Correct, and we are working with them and looking at other opportunities for asphalt paving, for landscaping, and other work on the project, and they are agreeable to that.
Excellent.
So it is your anticipation that they will actually meet those targets, is that correct, those goals, aspirations?
We are working in helping them find those opportunities and subcontract that work out as feasible.
Great. They are within spitting distance. It would be great to see them make the target.
All right,
And is this a firm that we've worked with for quite a bit in the past?
we have worked with them, yes.
And just like I've asked previously, I just think that if we have a relationship with them, even though these are aspirational goals, we should be able to achieve the very minimal aspirational goals that we have. If this is a company that gets contracts from the city on a regular basis, there's really no reason why we should be accepting less than what our goals are. And not putting this on you, but just saying that I'm marking the territory, that if people consistently get contracts from the city and they don't meet the goals, they should no longer get contracts from the city. That's my bottom line.
Well, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And I'll be sure to let them know.
I tell Lester every time he comes, so I know he knows. Which is
Well, I
probably
will-
why he's not here today.
I'll pass that message on to Emery.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there, Commissioner Udaley, do you have any questions?
I don't.
Very good. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion from Commissioner Hardesty, a second from Commissioner Udaley. Any further discussion? Carla, please call the roll.
Hardesty,
This is really good. We're so close. We can almost taste it. But I want us to be successful. I'm voting yes, but I'm going to be watching.
All right,
All right. Thank you.
thank you.
Udaley,
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye. The report's accepted. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And T, I couldn't quite hear you. Were you saying they are? Do you know how long?
They're walking over now, so probably within 5 minutes.
Why don't we take a recess for 5 minutes, and then the Police Bureau will be here for 155. We're in recess. 155.
Authorize a competitive solicitation and contract award for the replacement of the Regional Automated Pawn and Secondhand Information Database System software.
Colleagues, the Portland Police Bureau Detectives Division Special Property Investigations monitors pawn shops and secondhand dealer transactions throughout the city in order to recover stolen property. Approximately 132 pawn shops and secondhand dealers are required to report each day on certain regulated transactions to the Portland Police Data System, otherwise known as PPDS. Currently, this is being done through the Regional Automated Pawn and Secondhand Information Database, otherwise known as the RAPID system. The vendor providing and maintaining the current RAPID system was selected more than 10 years ago. There is interest in completing a solicitation of requests for proposals in order to ensure that the city and the police bureau have the latest technologies available to them to continue their tracking and investigation of pawn-related information. The police bureau is interested in completing the vendor proposal solicitation process and initiating the rapid replacement project in the last half of fiscal year 2019-20. This will allow the Portland Police Bureau to better investigate theft and potentially return property to property crime victims. Property crime disproportionately affects low-income and indigent people who cannot necessarily afford to reacquire or replace their stolen property. The Police Bureau would like to use the RFP procurement process to purchase a system to better track pawn transactions nationally and regionally in order to scale up their investigations of pawn-related information. The RFP will allow PPB to find a system that can better track items, many of which are often stolen, in and out of pawn shops so that property can be returned to its rightful owner. Commander Bell of the Detective Division is here from the Portland Police Bureau to share more details regarding this request. And if you could also, in your comments, explain for me and for others what is currently required. I didn't even know that pawn shops are required to report this information, so if you could educate those of us who don't know that much about it, that would be appreciated.
I'd be glad to, Mr.
Thank
Mayor. So as you said, I'm sorry. It's Jeff Bell, Commander of the Detective Division.
Thanks, Commander.
As you said, the theft of property does negatively affect both citizens and businesses here in the city of Portland, and it does disproportionately affect those who are unable to afford to replace items that are stolen. I think back to my days taking calls on the streets and taking calls from folks who have had, for instance, tools stolen, and those tools are their only means to be able to earn additional money, to be able to replace the tools that are, at that point, stolen. So we currently have a system, according to city ordinance, and it's 14B90, that requires that all secondhand dealers, and so this includes pawn shops, but it also includes other secondhand retailers, such as folks that buy and sell used video games and things of that nature. They are required to provide the information, including the identity of the people who sell it, the items in particular, any serial numbers. They take pictures and they hold those items for a certain amount of time in order to allow the police bureau to determine whether or not they've been involved in any sort of theft. So we currently use the database that you mentioned, RAPID, and there are a number of other agencies across the Northwest that use this. So although Portland secondhand and pawn shops are required to put information in this, they're not the only ones who are putting information in this. There's folks all over the region. And there are other systems out there that we'd like to take a look at, so that's the purpose behind the request for proposal. This system is our only way of being able to track these items and being able to determine whether or not a pawned item is stolen. Oftentimes, this is our only way to recover stolen items. When folks have their items go missing. Like I said, the requirement is required in city code, and the current contract for our current system expired last year. There were some issues with the hosting of computer hardware, which was part of the contract when we originally got the contract in 2009. And those issues were finally resolved last year. If we had dropped out of the contract at that point without getting an extension, we would have left other agencies kind of in the lurch who were getting their access through our equipment. And so that has now been resolved. The current company now has all of its computerized record keeping in the cloud. So we are now able to seek alternates if there's, we'd like to see if there's better systems out there.
Very good. Commissioner Hardesty.
Thank you. My understanding is that there are less agencies using the RAPID system today. They're using a new data system. I understand, so Portland uses RAPID and Gresham uses this other system, right?
That's correct.
So if my item is stolen in Portland and I take it to Gresham, or somebody who stole it takes it to Gresham and pawns it, then Portland would not know that my item is in Gresham today. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And how many agencies in the state of Oregon currently use RAPID?
That's been in flux. I can say your impression of this is absolutely correct. The number of folks who've been using RAPID have declined, and the system that the city of Gresham uses is one that a lot of them have gone to.
Right.
So the balance has definitely shifted towards another product.
I'll let you finish.
Is it your intention to go towards that other product then?
Well, we'd like to do the request for proposal to see
What's out there.
to see what else may be out there.
But to Commissioner Hardesty's good point, we obviously want to try as much as possible to be standardized or at least have systems that communicate with other jurisdictions locally for obvious reasons.
Absolutely, and right now, our property crimes detectives do communicate with Gresham detectives in order to try to track some of that stuff down, but unfortunately, as you pointed out, we don't have direct access to that system. As a matter of fact, there are pawn shops who have multiple locations, and if it's pawned in Portland, they put it in one system. If it's pawned in Gresham. So yes, that is one of the things in our request for proposals. We want something that provides us with the most ability to communicate with other agencies. And these things, sometimes we see them, they get pawned across the country.
Right.
So yes, that is one of our biggest goals.
And I guess my biggest concern right now is the timeline, right? So you're here today asking for us to support going out with an RFP. You've done a one-year extension, but that extension ends in June.
That's correct.
There's no way you're going to have a new contract by June. So what happens between now and when you are able to actually negotiate a new contract?
So the plan is, obviously, like you said, we don't anticipate, even if the RFP is approved immediately, that we're going to be able to have a new system in place. Our plan is to negotiate another extension with RAPID. Like I said, when the contract was up almost a year ago, there were some issues where having a new contract or backing out of that contract involved some equipment issues. And so, like I said, we have resolved those. Had we backed out last year had we done this RFP earlier and had we backed out earlier, we would have potentially cut off access to a lot of other systems. I have no idea why the contract was set up that way, where we were hosting physical, actual computer servers for the system. I believe we did get some sort of monetary discount for that, but those issues are resolved, and yes, I can assure you that we have no desire of entering into any sort of agreement that binds us with other agencies.
You know, I was going to ask about that because I think the Police Bureau has had a couple of these computer things that were connected to other agencies that have actually exploded in our face. Are we using the Technology Oversight Committee to actually monitor the equipment purchases? Because again, I share this concern that, you know, people who are buying technology who are not technology experts sometimes buy things that just aren't exactly what they need. So I don't know if you have been connected with the Technology Oversight Committee, but I would highly recommend that this process go through them, because they're volunteers, they don't work for the city, but they are technology experts. And the advice that they have provided to us, I know has saved us tens of millions of dollars.
So I'll second that. I mean, it's an old saw for me. But Commissioner Hardesty and I have spoken with one voice on this and consistently. I'm very concerned about the way we purchased software package and apps and customer service programs because we don't really have a standardized check and balance system internally. And we all know from Region what the experience can be and how bad it can get if the technology is flawed, as Region is. And if we don't negotiate a good contract that gives us a clear opt-out opportunity in the event that the program doesn't work the way we expect it to work. But Commissioner Hardesty is right. We should go through some stage gate planning prior to actually signing anything with any product. And I want to make sure that that happens as well. So I'd really encourage that, Commander. And I know you're not responsible for the previous issues, but we all have the opportunity to learn from some of those previous issues as well. That's something you can commit to?
Yes, that is something I can commit to. I completely agree, and obviously, there's a lot of folks who had nothing to do with Region or this contract who are now well aware and learning from those lessons. So Commissioner Hardesty, any advice you have on that regard? And you said it's the technology.
Oversight Committee, the TOC, I think we could get Tom Reinhardt connected with you and figure out how we could get their assistance in this effort. But I'm happy to help you with that.
And Robert, obviously, legal counsel is well primed for some of these contract negotiations. And as I've said, we need an opt-out, and we didn't have that with Region, unbelievably. Okay, good.
Thank you.
Commissioner Udaley, did you have any questions on this item before we go to public testimony?
I don't.
All righty, very good.
have one more
Yes,
question.
Commissioner Hardesty, you bet.
So on the impact statement, I asked the lieutenant yesterday what this sentence meant, and he couldn't tell me. And I told him to prep whoever was coming here to answer this question. And so the question was under community impact and community involvement. The sentence reads, while no community members were involved in the development of this amendment, the services in and of themselves establishes a means for Portland Police Bureau to carry out part of its mission to protect property and promote individual responsibility and community commitment. So I was unaware that the Police Bureau was in the business of promoting individual responsibility and community commitment. What does that mean?
So in my mind, the piece about promoting individual responsibility, we have a system that basically holds folks accountable when they buy and sell used goods. So I think it's entirely possible that a lot of people that sell stolen goods to secondhand stores may not know of their origin, but having a system in place where we track these items, where we're able to track them down later if people record their serial numbers, we are holding people accountable and making them responsible for their choices in terms of choosing what they want to do with this property. It also makes the secondhand dealers responsible for the property they receive. Without programs like this in place, there is less of an incentive for these stores to make sure that the items they're purchasing are legitimately owned and not purchasing stolen items. So in terms of individual responsibility, that's how I look at that.
I find it problematic that the police would say as part of their mission to promote individual responsibility, right? I just don't think that's the police job. The police job is to solve crime and prevent crime. It's not about, the courts hold people responsible once they go through a judicial process. So I read that and just really struck me as a very odd statement to be putting on a request for a new system to track stolen stuff. So I'm told that Catherine is a little creative in her writing, and so you might want to have a conversation and say, just stick with the facts and let's not embellish what the role of this particular project is. Thank you.
One last question. Could you just quickly explain what is required, first of all, what is the difference between a pawn shop and a secondhand dealer? Is there a legal distinction between those two?
You know, I'd have to look at the city code does have definitions for all of that stuff. Essentially, this ordinance, I mean, in layman's terms, anything that any business that buys used goods kind of falls into this. So it's not going to be like Goodwill that takes donations, but like a pawn shop, or like I said, like a video game store that buys and sells used games will fall under this.
And I wasn't aware of this, but in order to get licensure, it's the state that requires them to have a tracking system for all goods coming in and going out. Is that correct?
That sounds correct, yes.
Okay, and that's what causes us to need this system at the local level?
Yes.
Okay. And how long does that data have to be kept?
That actually I don't know. As far as I know, it is kept until the item, actually, I apologize, I don't know how long that data is kept.
Okay, that's fine. I was just curious. Very good, thank you. Any further questions? Carla, do we have public testimony on this item?
Yes, we have 3 people signed up.
Very good.
Please come on up. Diana Gutman, Charles Bridgecrane Johnson, and Maggie.
Good morning. Would you like to start, please?
Yes, please. Good morning, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Diana Gutman, and I'm in support of this specific agenda item 155, to support coming up with a software that would allow investigations for people to receive the things that had been taken from them. I think that this has a major impact on so many people in our city, especially people in communities where theft is a lot higher. That is something that we really need to be taking seriously and look to. I do have a couple questions in regards to what I've heard on this presentation. I wanted to find out how this would be regulated. This is the first time that I've actually even heard about this since I've been attending the Portland City Councils in the last couple years that I've been here. And so I'm curious, as this is something that's already been in place by the City of Portland. This is a mandate by the state of Oregon for the police bureaus to work together with our constituents. And so I want to know, how is this regulated? Because this is the first time this is even being talked about. The second question that I have is, when we are looking for a new contract, my question is, what is the cost going to be? How much is that going to cost the city? Who the vendors are going to be, whether or not we even have a vendor list going, if we've even reached out to appropriate vendors that could provide this kind of a contract for the city. And then lastly, is this going to be an inclusive database? Because there is already discrepancy with people with other bureaus using different databases, and then even going beyond that, you have secondhand shops that are using different databases that can be a chain. So how are we going to make this more inclusive so that we can actually solve these investigations more effectively and work with the community partners and the people who have lost something? Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Good morning.
Hi, Maggie, Portland Homeless Town Hall. Okay, so daily there are thefts of people's phones in all the shelters. And when you have people who are, you've got a couple of different kinds of people. You've got people who are non-predatory and victims, and you have people who are predatory and victims, and you have people who are just out there and just plain predatory. And these shelters need to have a requirement where they are required to provide a lockup space for people to put their phones at night, and then they can get them when they leave
Maggie,
in the morning.
this is a good idea, but this
Because
is related to pawn
prevention-
shops.
Well,
This
yes,
is a
I
very
know,
specific
but this
ordinance
is
related
about
to pawn
prevention.
shops.
And this is an area that, where are all these phones that get stolen in the shelters going?
Maggie, stick
They're
to the
probably
point or I'm
going to
gonna move
pawn
on.
shops. right?
Thank you.
Okay, okay, I'm
You're
just
done.
saying.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
you know?
Good morning.
Good morning, Madam President Hardesty and Mayor Wheeler.
Good morning.
There's a lot of talk now, in addition to theft, about socialism, and we have a lot of corporate socialism, and I'm worried that this is small-scale corporate socialism. One of the things Commissioner Hardesty mentioned was, what the heck is this individual responsibility crap? It's actually a little bit promising in that it was rephrased as business owners being responsible for their costs to society. But when we look at this proposal, we really don't have very much clarity about this. Pawn shops exist to make their owners financially secure. And I think we really need to engage with Attorney General Ellen Rosenblum, presuming she's reelected, kind of unopposed this year, and make sure that the state and the city, through its police bureau, even though the police bureau has the hugest budget of any bureau, so that we make sure that 100% of the costs, even though there is some social benefit to crime victims for this program, there's no reason why all the costs should not be part of operating businesses for pawn shops. So I hope that as we put out the RFP, when you vote today and probably approve this RFP process, I hope that in addition to engaging the Technology Oversight Committee, and maybe there's a role for the city's chief technology officer, that we will look at what do pawn shops pay to private insurance companies, and why is the pawn industry not able to 100% cover the cost of this program? Again, I'm not an anti-socialist. When there's a benefit, I think the mayor in his opening remarks mentioned that oftentimes lower economic status people are the victims of these thefts. But it's not the best thing when all the taxpayers collectively cover that, when really the cost and the duty is there for those pawn shop owners who are making the money. So I hope that in the RFP process and the development of this, we discuss more about not giving welfare to pawn shop owners just because some EBT card holder had their PlayStation 4 stolen.
So Charles, this proposal, so the pawn shops have to buy their own equipment. We're not buying equipment for pawn
Thank you.
shops. This is equipment for the police to be able to track stolen items, right? And this is state law. So it's not, this is not new. This is something we've been doing ever since the state law was passed. The only difference is that we are looking to see if there's a better contractor that could provide the service, and that the service that they provide would be utilized by lots of our neighboring counties and cities, right? The system we've had for 10 years, what we learn is that less and less governmental entities are using it, which is why we're going out to look for new stuff.
So this is interesting. I think you're onto something, because we are spending money on a proprietary system in order to prevent pawn shops from basically dealing in stolen goods.
That's right.
Why aren't we? I'll ask staff. Thank you for, were you done with your comments?
And one thing I would say, as you both talk, there's a jurisdictional issue. So I really think that I'm pretty sure Commissioner Hardesty is very familiar that the state operated a surveillance database of all Oregonians. That was crap. That should not have been done with taxpayer money. But some of that infrastructure maybe should be repurposed so that statewide we can have one pawn shop financed stolen property tracking system. So I hope the legislative agenda might be, I know we have a lot on the city's legislative agenda that we want from Salem this year and next, but maybe there's one more line we can add in. Thank you very much, both of you.
This is helpful.
And
Thanks all three of you.
why can't we register phones like we do bicycles with the police? Especially for
All right, thank you, Becky.
aging and disabled people?
Appreciate it. Commander, could you come back for one moment, just so I can ask you a question? I'm sorry, Commander, thank you. The lights are often blinding up here. Everybody looks good from up here, by the way. Just want you all to know that. The question, since we are buying a proprietary system that is used to regulate an industry that unfortunately has a reputation for dealing in stolen goods, and I'm not saying everybody in that industry engages, this is a bad apples type situation, and sometimes it's unintentional, and I understand that. But why isn't the industry bearing the cost? And an analogous example here is the real estate industry is bearing the cost of our rental registration system. So we're doing it, but they're paying for it. Why isn't there an analogous example here to this industry?
So I don't know the history. What I do know is that it's probably a result of the fact that our current budget for the program that we have now is only $9,000 a year, approximately. That's about how much we spend. So
For the software?
for the software, yes.
$9,000 a year?
That does not give me a great deal of confidence. But I'll look forward to seeing your RFP.
Hence the RFP,
Okay,
Mr. Mayor.
good. All right.
I don't know what a new system will cost. It's entirely
Right.
possible. I mean, we believe that's probably on the low end,
Okay.
obviously. And again, I don't know what the history was behind this, but I think it was viewed as kind of a minor cost, so they didn't necessarily think to defer that to the businesses.
If that's true, I just find that astounding, and I'll look forward to the RFP when it comes back. Good.
But I
It
think
won't
the,
come back if it's only 9,000.
I don't think the Bureau would be
When it crashes,
opposed.
it'll come back.
I don't think it will come back at 9,000. And
All
I
right,
don't think
thank
the
you.
Bureau would be opposed at deferring those costs to the businesses that force us to need this software, so.
Great. Thank you, Commander Bell, and thanks for all your service and the good work you do.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. This is a first, anything else, Commissioner Hardesty, on this? This is a first reading of a non-emergency ordinance. It moves to second reading. Next item. Oh, sorry, did you have? Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, we can't do it with the current. Next item, Carla, is item number 153. Time certain, please.
Proclaim February 19, 2020 to be Rip City Day.
Colleagues, the City Council would like to take some time to officially recognize a milestone birthday in our community. 50 years ago, in 1970, one of the most beloved National Basketball Association franchises was born right here in Portland, Oregon. Since then, the Portland Trail Blazers have stolen the hearts of fans both near and far, making 35 playoff appearances, 3 trips to the NBA Finals, and of course, an NBA championship in 1977. With heated rivalries with both Los Angeles teams and our former Pacific Northwest rivalry with the Seattle Sonics, the Trail Blazers have been a source of tremendous pride in our community. The pride extends throughout the city of Portland. The Blazers organization makes it a point to give back and invest in our community. Their Make It Better Foundation work and their commitment to youth through the Blazers Boys and Girls Club, it is very clear through all of these efforts and others that this franchise embodies the true spirit of Portland, and it's woven into the fabric of our great community. The Trail Blazers have maintained that strong commitment, engendering a spirit of service and sustainability, and we as a city are better off for it. So today, we want to honor the Trail Blazers' rich history, recognize the team's many accomplishments and contributions to the community as we celebrate the 50th year anniversary. We'd also like to memorialize the beloved moniker that we all know and love, Rip City, founded by the original mayor of Rip City himself, the amazing, legendary Bill Schonely, who's with us here today. Thanks to Bill, Rip City has grown from a nickname to an entire community. We're honored to have as guests here today Team President and CEO Chris McGowan, announcer Bill Schonely, and a super fan we've all seen at Blazers home games, Rolia Manyanga-Jones, better known as the Dancing Lady. And get this, she has also been a season ticket holder for 29 years. But before they share their remarks and before I read our proclamation declaring this day to be Rip City Day in Portland, we'd like to share a look back at the team's first 50 years. So if you direct your attention to the screens, we'll show a brief video.
Davis with a screen from John. It is wide Show me that jersey.
The Portland Trailblazers will play for the championship of the world.
Thank you very much. Go Blazers. Bryant. It's a shot. The Portland Trailblazers select Damian Lillard of Weber State University.
It's Lillard. He got the shot off. Lillard got it. Lillard! And the Blazers win the series. Fans, are you ready? Lillard with 47 now. Working it down to 2-1. A deep three. Blazers win the series in walk-off
Thank you for being here today. We appreciate it, Mr. McGowan. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. On behalf of the Trailblazers organization, I would like to thank Mayor Wheeler and city commissioners for their continued support of the Trailblazers. We're honored by the city's recognition of the franchise's 50th anniversary and excited to have today proclaimed Rip City Day, February 19th. Though today is one of celebration, we'd like to take a moment to offer our condolences on the passing of Commissioner Nick Fish. He was a passionate supporter of all things Portland, including the Trailblazers, and he's dearly missed here today. We're very fortunate to have a fan base who tirelessly supports our team and our city through the highs and lows of each season. And we're excited to see the Rip City community be honored here today because they're all part of our legacy. We thank you for all you do to support the citizens of Rip City, and we look forward to continuing to work together to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion, environmental stewardship, and make a positive impact on and off the court. After all, we're all citizens of Rip City. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
From one mayor to another. Mayor of Rip City, and to you, sir.
Thank you.
We want to thank you and the council for this wonderful opportunity that you have decided to Rip City Day. I'm just overwhelmed by the entire affair because I had no idea back in 1970 that Rip City was going to come out of my mouth. It just did. And it took a little while, some baby steps, but look what's happened. The organization is Rip City Incorporated, and wherever you go now, not only here in Portland, around the state, the Northwest, but for that matter, all over the world. And it's all my fault. But thank you very, very much. I'm honored, and the organization is too.
The honor's all ours. Thank you. Good morning.
Hi, I do have a name. It's Rolia, but known in Portland as the Dancing Lady. I'm very honored to be here. I'm originally from Liberia, from a small village. I never knew one day I would ever be dancing in an arena that everybody begins to know me. But I am a true diehard Blazer fan to the max. I just started one day in the Coliseum dancing, and the camera got on me, and they haven't left me since. So I will always be proud to be a Blazer fan. And we are very honored. I'm very honored to be a part of this Rip City Day. This is history, and the legacy lives on and I will always dance until I'm 95 years old.
And you are an important part of that legacy, and we thank you for that.
Thank you.
I don't know if my colleagues would like to make some comments before I read the proclamation. Commissioner Hardesty?
One more thing.
Yes,
please.
yeah, you bet,
Yes.
Mr. Shanley.
Well, I can't get up there.
Hold on one second. Wait, we're gonna
Diz,
wait.
you got help.
We're gonna do, Dill, I think we're gonna do that
We're gonna
after
come
their
down and
comments.
get you, so hang on to that
Turn
ball.
over. We're gonna do that last.
I'll take it. I just want to say what an honor it is to be on the city council at this time, to be able to honor the Trailblazers. I'll tell you a story about the year I moved here, January 1st, 1990. And I moved here as a diehard Chicago Bulls fan, right? I had the audacity to like go out in public at my Chicago Bulls equipment while the Blazers and the Bulls were fighting for the championship, right? Now that takes a brave person, right, to do that. Since then, however, I want you to know that I have also become a diehard Blazer fan. And here's why. It is because of the incredible men who have had the privilege of playing on the Blazers team, but more importantly, who've had the ability to really give to the community. I think of folks like Jerome Kersey. I think of there's a whole list from back in that era of men who understood that they had an obligation to give back to the community that they were in, and they were very humble with how they did that. And so that has always stayed in my heart. Jerome Kersey, in fact, did a public service announcement with me way back when I had another job. And so that's what I remember, right? I like basketball just because I like watching men run up and down in those little shorts, right? But more importantly, I really value the maturity, the respect, the kindness that Trailblazers have shown this community. And so I am very honored to be here and to help with this 50-year celebration.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Daly?
Thank you, Mayor. I will just quickly say I'm very sorry I'm not there to share in the festivities today. Mr. Shanley, it's always a treat to hear your voice in chambers. I didn't realize I was born the same year as Rip City, but it makes sense because while I am not the world's biggest sports fan, the Blazers will always have a place in my heart. So thank you, and sorry to miss it.
Thank you. So now it's my honor to read a proclamation on behalf of the City Council and by extension, the City of Portland. Whereas the City of Portland is honored to recognize our men's professional basketball franchise as the 2019-20 season marks the Trailblazers' 50th anniversary season. Whereas, as we take time to honor the rich history of the franchise, we would like to memorialize a beloved moniker of the City of Portland that was born out of an electrifying moment at a Trailblazers game against the Los Angeles Lakers on February 18, 1971. And whereas Portland became known as Rip City during that game, a phrase founded by the legendary Bill Shanley, the voice of the Trailblazers from 1970 to 1998, who was inducted into the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame in 1999 and received the Kurt Gowdy Media Award from the Basketball Hall of Fame in 2012. And whereas the term Rip City has come to represent a diehard pride and passion for the Trailblazers and the entire city of Portland. And whereas we honor the Trailblazers fans who have transformed Rip City from a nickname into a community and who contribute to the success of the team and create an incredible atmosphere for the Trailblazers home games. And whereas we commend the Trailblazers for the organization's dedication to positively impacting the community of Rip City through the work of the Trailblazers Foundation, advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion work and environmental stewardship. And whereas Rip City brings people together to create lasting memories through the power of sport. And now, therefore, I, Ted Wheeler, the mayor of the city of Portland, the city of roses, Rip City, do hereby proclaim February 19th, 2020 to be Rip City Day in Portland and encourage all residents to observe this day. Thank you. And if we could come up here for
Now?
now's the time. The exchange.
Jump the gun a little. Nobody told me. Basketball. My name was on there, and Jim Barnett, who started it all with that fabulous shot back in 1971 or 1970, and that was, in essence, the birth of Rip City. Thank you again for this day.
Thank you, Mr. Sharley. Thank you.
No, Mr. Mayor.
I guess he told you.
Thank you, and we'll put this in Steve.
Yeah.
Thank you. Want to see it? Do a little one-on-one later?
Yeah, right.
All right, well, that is a fantastic way to end our meeting.
Here, here.
We are adjourned.